What's up, comic book fans? And welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me. And today, we got more Fall of the House of X with Dead X-Men issue number 4, the finale to this 4-part miniseries. And this series has been a surprise hit so far, with 5 of the X-Men that failed during the Hellfire Gala returning to help Xavier find the right Moira to go back in time and speak with. And in this finale, we finally get the battle between this new Psycho version of Moira that had broken free of the Moira Engine timelines. And if you guys need to get caught up on where that Moira came from, or you guys just need a refresher before getting to this finale, then I'll place a card at the top of the screen right now. And I'll put a link at the end of the video as well. But otherwise, if you guys are ready to find out how the Dead X-Men get past the Psycho Moira, plus what happens when these guys find out the true nature of Xavier's Moira mission after his latest heel turn in issue number 3 of The Rise of the Powers of X, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So this issue kicks off basically right where issue 3 ended, and crazy ass Moira had made it to her 5th life, and now right out of the gate is battle time. And Dazzler manages to grab Moira from behind, and she calls on Rachel to portal them out of this 5th life. And that's exactly what happens, as Rachel then pulls Moira and the team back through the Moira engine in her past lives. And now Prodigy is able to feel everything. Every life that Moira has ever experienced has now been downloaded by him. Then we pick up with Moira speaking with Rachel inside of both of their minds. And Rachel tells her that she has very good psychic defenses, but it's nothing that Rachel can't force open. And since Moira is already broken, Rachel lets her know that she doesn't care if she breaks her even more. But Moira defends herself because she's given up lifetimes to find a way for mutants to win. She sacrificed everything. But none of that matters right now to Rachel, because right now she's pissed. She just found out that she'd been lied to by Charles Xavier, which is probably something she should have anticipated. Then she tells Moira that she helped him find his way back to a version of Moira that's very vulnerable, and he may just be planning to shoot that child version of you in the head. And honestly, Rachel couldn't care less about what happens to Moira, to any version of her. But if that child dies, so does everything she and her friends have ever known. Then we transition back to temporal location Moira Engine 2.4, back where we first met this version of Moira. And Smasher, the kid of Cannonball, is helping Abigail Brand up after her run-in with Crazy Moira before she left. And as Smasher and Brand are leaving, they notice that Moira is coming back, and they think that she's coming back to finish the job. Then we see Moira and the rest of the Dead X-Men crew come teleporting back into this Earth, and when they land, they quickly realize that they need helmets because, just like last time, they can't breathe in this atmosphere. But Moira now is pissed that she's been brought back into this graveyard planet. And if she's going to be condemned there, then she's going to take every mutant she can with her. And she hurls that sick-ass weapon M-Axe towards Prodigy. But Dazzler sees it and dives in and saves Prodigy, but takes that axe right in the back. And now she's down and she's hurt pretty bad. So of course now the rest of the team calls dibs on Moira's head. Meanwhile, Orbis Stellaris has now realized that the strange visitors have returned. But once he's collected the rest of his Mysterium, this petty conflict will be over with, and he'll finally get the chance to ascend. And it's honestly comical now seeing the Sinister clones reach for Dominion Hood, only to realize that the original has already achieved it. But Prodigy is still with Dazzler right now, and he's crying for it not to end like this, not so close to the finish line. But then the crystal in Prodigy's chest begins to get summoned by Orbis Stellaris, and Prodigy starts to get pulled into the air towards Stellaris' vessel. Meanwhile, Moira is about to cut down another X-Man, but her crystal shard also begins to get recalled by Stellaris. And while Moira's distracted, Frenzy gets up and punches the crap out of Moira, dropping her for a second. But when she gets up, she gives a small speech. "First Eric, now poor old Moira. Charles always did have a habit of sending his webs to beat on the elderly." But Cannonball flies in full speed, screaming for Moira to keep Magneto's name out of her mouth. He's a hero and she's a monster. But Moira acknowledges this and boasts that she can still fight like a monster too, and she turns and catches Cannonball with her weapon in as he flies up, knocking him back. But Jubilee's got his back and she runs up and fires sparks at Moira. Then Moira raises her weapon M into the air as if to yell, "This is Sparta!" And although she can't jump lives without the Mysterium, her axe still has more than enough power to take all these X-Men to hell with her. Solid Sparta chant by Moira too, by the way. But while these guys ready themselves for more action, they look above as the Starjammers radio out that they've got the Technarchy on the back foot and asks if anyone has a Hail Mary in them. Now's the time. And Dazzler awakes and she gets up and immediately fires on Moira. And it appears that Dazzler blasted off Moira's axe swinging arm. Sheesh. But guess Dazzler had another comeback in her. And the team is thrilled to have her back in this fight. But now she's wondering where Prodigy is at. Then we pick back up with Prodigy, and he's being pulled into Stellaris' vessel. But Stellaris notices that his tractor beam is pulled in more than just a crystal when he sees Prodigy. Then Orbis tells him that he's taking something of his. That shard of the M'Kraan crystal belongs in his ascension engine, not lodged in Prodigy's chest. Then he takes the shard from Prodigy. But Prodigy gets a message from the crystal that every fragment of the M'Kraan crystal is the totality of the M'Kraan crystal. Every individual is the whole. Meanwhile, Prodigy begins to fall from the sky, while Orbis now has his shard back, and after all these long years, his moment is at hand. But on the ground, Frenzy is able to catch a falling Prodigy, and Prodigy lets the team know that he got a special message from the Rock, and everything is gonna be okay. Then he calls for Rachel to go ahead and bring them back, which she does. Meanwhile, Stellaris is ready for his ascension to Dominion, and then just like all the other Sinisters, he's left flabbergasted when he finds out that there's already a Dominion. But then we pick up with Moira as she tries to hobble away, and then Smasher and Abigail Brand, as Smasher is still helping Abigail. He radios to Sunspot from the Starjammers that he has eyes on Stellaris and that scavenger that took it to Abigail. Then he tells Sunspot that he'll deal with them once he gets Abigail to the ship. But Sunspot has other plans, and he tells Smasher that they'll target Orbis with the ship. And as far as the Axe Lady, we've got a crew member up here eager to pitch in. And as Moira has seemingly gotten away, Juggernaut comes flying down from the ship, landing on and completely crushing and ending Psycho Moira. Then we pick back up on Atlantic Krakoa in the White Hot Room. But it feels like a hurricane in there right now to the X-Men team. But then Rachel apologizes to them for the theatrics. But she's really ticked off right now, she tells them. Xavier played them. He played all of them. He never intended to talk to Moira. He went back in time to kill her before her powers manifested. He decided all on his own that our best chance against the Dominion was preventing Krakoa from ever existing. Rasputin 4 already went to try to stop him, but he's got Sinister on his side. Essex was here all along in Doug Ramsey's body. It's all falling apart so badly. If Xavier pulls the trigger, everything resets. Nothing we've known will have ever happened. And now the team can't believe Xavier will resort to this. Krakoa missed so much to each of them. And not only that, but Cannonball has a whole kid. If Xavier erases Krakoa, then he erases his son's birth. They can't lose the history of Krakoa. Then Prodigy tells Rachel that he's the one that had to live with Moira in his head. And her view of the world is just as cold as Xavier's. They both look at the big picture and don't care about the little people it costs to achieve their visions. But that big picture is nothing on its own. In the Moira engine timeline, a piece of the M'Kraan crystal got embedded in his chest, and his unlocked power stopped hurting the moment it hit him. And the crystal spoke to him. It told him that the individual is the whole. Every single one of them matters, and even if it's impossible, every life is worth fighting for. But Rachel realizes something from what Prodigy just said, and she responds to him, "David, that rock, the M'Kraan crystal, is the nexus of realities itself. The White Hot Room exists inside of it. Every fragment of the crystal is effectively the entirety of the crystal. It doesn't subdivide. Each individual is the whole. You brought the crystal through defunct timelines and back inside of itself, all while absorbing the impressions of the lives around you. You made a circuit. Xavier had 3 plans to stop the Dominion. The first one failed. The second one is murdering Moira and undoing Krakoa. And the third, it's impossible, manifesting the Phoenix on a scale never accomplished before. But, David, do you understand what you've done? With the crystal bonded to you, every lifetime you pass through, you brought it into yourself. 10 lifetimes of the mutant experience. 10 lifetimes of fighting for our right to survive. Every individual is the whole, and you've let us touch every individual ever. You've given us the kindling we need to light the pyre. But Prodigy tells her that it wasn't just him. It was the X-Men. Then Rachel admits that this is still the longest of long shots, and they need her mom, Jean Grey, to make it work. But now the odds aren't at zero, and she thinks that they can pull this off. So the team all decides that they will try their best to stop Xavier and convince him to change his mind. So Rachel tells them to buckle up. They've got one shot. She's about to loop them into the mother of all conference calls. Then we pick up with Charles Xavier and Moira's 10th life, in the scene in The Rise of the Powers of X, issue 3, where Rachel has stopped Charles by telling him that he may not need to explain anything to anyone, but the anyone wants to explain things to him. Before you do this, my team wants to talk about the dream, about Krakoa, what it means, why you can't wipe it away, no matter what, and especially like this. And just like that, this loop is connected. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this issue and this mini-series. Man, did you guys like how they connected things in the end? It was cool to me how in The Rise of the Powers of X, we saw Rachel have that last conversation with Charles, but we never got to see her team get involved, so that was pretty sick. But overall, how did you guys like this series? And after hearing Rachel's plan to use the help of her mother, how do you guys think things will play out since it appeared that Xavier had killed her? Man, y'all, I think this Fall of the House of X has been epic so far, though, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this all wraps up and what comes next from the ashes. And I knew it from the jump that it was something special about that crystal being wedged in Prodigy's chest. But how cool was that reveal? He'd essentially taken the M'Kraan crystal inside of the M'Kraan crystal. Mind blown. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel, and you'd like to support the channel, then you can do so by joining the Iconic Fan Club channel membership. And there'll be a link in the description to join. But with your membership, you'll gain access to weekly interactive live streams with yours truly, where we could talk about everything that's been going down in these issues, as well as ones that you'd like for me to go over in the future, and other comic book news too. But you guys will also get loyalty badges, member shout outs, and more in these videos. Or you can also donate to the channel with a super thanks. And if you're not able to do that, then you can still be a tremendous help to the future of this channel by dropping a like, share, and subscribing to Comics Icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out. Peace.